Hi there, my name is Lee Fogel of Lee Fogel Somatic Healing and Consulting, and I wanted to share a practice today for what to do when we feel pain or discomfort or emotional distress in our bodies, and it's kind of taking over our attention. The practice is called Pathways of Pleasure. So, instead of denying or trying to squash the uncomfortable feeling, what we can do is just allow it to be there, maybe name it, and then get curious about what else is going on in our bodies or just around us that might actually be comfortable or just fine or even enjoyable. So, for example, I'm feeling a bit of tension at the place where my skull meets my neck, right at the base of my skull. And I don't have to make it go away, which is very compelling. I don't have to pay attention to it until I solve it. I don't have to try to ignore it or make it get smaller. I can just, okay, that's there. And what else? Is there anything enjoyable happening? And as I say that, I notice an enjoyment of my breath in my belly. And in particular, I'm kind of leaning in to the side into one hip, and I feel um, like my warm breath is like spilling down into the right lower part of my belly. It feels nice. And I can spend a little longer enjoying that movement. And actually, what happens is for me, it evolves and I feel the movement of my breath and the enjoyment of my breath moving kind of up into my chest area. And I feel a kind of melting in the back of my shoulders. Um, and I just checked, and the tension is still kind of there if I pay attention to it. But as I am enjoying these pathways of pleasure, I feel another kind of wave of experience opening up in me, and I feel a softening. And in fact, my whole body is kind of tending towards a posture of comfort and a tone of ease. And that does kind of change the experience in my upper neck and base of my skull. It does feel a little better. And I'm not really gonna dwell too much on that area because I'm just gonna keep following, like, it feels kind of enjoyable to look around the room, to feel like I feel a kind of wave of movement in my chest. I'm enjoying the softness of my lips as they come together, as I talk, as I pause. And so, I'm describing as I'm noticing, and so things are kind of jumping from one to the next to the next. Sometimes, as you practice following pathways of pleasure, it might be that a certain movement inside you kind of blooms and evolves, and you can spend a little while following one expression inside of you or one area of your body if enjoyment continues to happen there. So the idea here is it's not like you actually have to do anything. You don't have to create something enjoyable necessarily. You can kind of rest into the reality of whatever discomfort being there in you. And you can rest into this simple, perhaps small, perhaps um, increasing as you pay attention areas of enjoyment. And as you practice, here's a question to take with you is what helps me sustain awareness on enjoyment? So, you might practice pathways of pleasure for a minute or five or even longer if it keeps you. And, if you, however long it is really, um, noticing what supports you in staying with enjoyment can be really rich. And another question too is what makes it harder? What gets in the way? So those can be really helpful pieces of information for you as you cultivate the ability to bring your awareness and your body's attention towards enjoyment. Happy practicing. Please feel free to be in touch. My website is leefogel.com and it's very easy to find me there. I'd love to hear how this goes for you. Thank you. Take care.